Hey, welcome to the Good Place Marionville Podcast, dedicated to highlighting the good in Marionville, Missouri.
Today's episode will continue our commitment to showcase the goodness in Marionville, uniting our community through shared stories of hope and optimism. So hang out with us for a little while as we cover some of the good this week. So in city updates, tomorrow, Thursday, June 13th at 6:30 is the monthly city alderman meeting. I just want to encourage you to please consider attending and staying up to date on how our great town is growing and planning and making decisions. And a couple things that are on the agenda for tomorrow is they're going to discuss a text alert system for the city and citizen communication back and forth. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, like one of those days when they're running off the siren, tornado sirens, like, this is just a test. Don't freak out.
That's a good one.
Hey, next week, somebody from Josh Hawleys' office is going to be in town talking about discussing the city needs. Might be something you want to keep your eye out for.
And just an update, a lot of you have been following the sewer cleaning and filming contract that's been happening around town, and that is going to be finished up by next week if everything goes well.
So you could take it, your toilets will be safe. You could take the cellophane off your toilet starting at the end of next week.
Yes.
All right. And just so you know, a grant has been applied for through Bass Pro Shops in the hopes of building a fishing pond, a bass fishing pond out next to the baseball fields on the edge of town.
So some great city news. And I just want to say we're giving the school a break for some of their news that might be happening. This is a great time of year for them to be catching up on things and making things happen behind the scenes. So just remember, next week is the end of summer school.
Hey, excited to share that another citizen of this great city of Marionville has applied to join the fire department. We need to keep growing the fire department force right here in Marionville. Please consider supporting your city. Men, women, people of all ages, we need your help. Go to City Hall and get an application.
So the Bank of Billings in business news has a big news, and that is that it's ready to open its doors for the grand opening of the new facility in town. I have used the drive-through. I know it's exciting to get inside. And so on June 14th, you can go to the open house and bring your appetite because they are serving a lot of local fare. They are serving coffee.
That's grown
cookies.
locally?
Well, it's
okay. That part's not local.
brewed locally.
Are the cookies?
But coffee, cookies, hot dogs, and fried pies at different times throughout the day on June 14th. So no, Jim, that does not deserve to take place of our anniversary dinner on June 14th, but we certainly can go.
Honey, I've got an idea for our anniversary dinner. I was thinking hot dogs and fried pies in the Bank of Billings parking lot.
That sounds romantic.
That sounds like a great way to celebrate our 38th wedding anniversary. She's fantastic. All right, a sponsor highlight. Just so you know, we have need for a couple of other big sponsors on our Good Place Marionville podcast. For now, though, we want to thank very much. A big shout out to the Bank of Billings for being a sponsor of the Good Place Marionville podcast. They've been such great big supporters. We are so grateful for them. The Bank of Billings, they wear their age really well. That's right. They've been a pillar of this community for 135 years. Make sure you go and thank them for that when you're eating their free food on Friday.
Bank of Billings does community banking at its best. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
So you may have noticed we have a visitor in the studio with us today, and you may not recognize him without his cowboy hat on.
But he has it there in his lap.
Right there. We want to welcome to the Good Place Marionville podcast our very own Missouri State Representative for District 157, which is Lawrence County, Mitch Boggs. He's served our area for 4 years, on his way to serving for 8 years. Mitch was first elected back in 2020. Mitch Boggs, welcome to the Good Place Marionville podcast.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you. So how long have you lived in Lawrence County?
My whole life.
Your whole life? You never went anywhere else?
Nope.
Wow. That's incredible.
Several generations have lived in Lawrence
Like
County.
how many generations?
Well, on one side of the family, I believe it's 5 generations. The other side, it's 6 generations.
You know, and I would guess that there are a lot of people listening to or watching this podcast that can relate with that this has been their home all along. So I'm curious, at what point growing up, or did you ever even consider that you would actually serve in politics?
No, I never considered myself as serving as a politician for sure. In fact, whenever I was running for office, one of my speech lines was, "I'm not a politician." After I was elected, I still was using that speech. Several people was telling me, "You can't use that line anymore. You get that title by default."
Wow. You don't have to accept people say stuff like that. If you're not really a politician,
You officially are
say
in that
whatever you want to
role,
say.
but your heart is for the people. And I think that's one of the things we're going to hear about
All
a
right.
little
So
today.
when you started to decide, okay, I'm going to run in 2020, what made you want to serve in public office in the state of Missouri?
Well, it probably started with the fire department. I've served on the fire department for several years. Served on the board at the fire department. Been on the road district for several years, and so I don't think it's something that you wake up one day and say, I'm gonna serve in this capacity. I think some of mine came through a frustration of being a business owner, being a builder. Some of the frustrations of the changes that's came along over the last several years, and some of those changes are good. Although we don't like change, some of them are good. But the bad change is what I set out to try to control, push back on. Maybe is another term that we would use, just to keep the world in a place that I grew up with. Keep the regulations low, keep the government out of our business. That was my intent when I took this job.
So, okay, just give yourself a grade, A to F. How you doing so far? And going on your end of your 4th year, have you had any success getting rid of some of that stuff?
I've had a little bit of success, although not been totally encouraged. Seemed like you have more power as far as pushback than you do as actually getting something done. So I've tried to be there for some pushback on even sometimes our own party. We just got to remind them that, hey, just because something needs done, let's not do the wrong thing.
That's so good. So I love this opportunity to get to know you a little bit more as a person. And I know in your bio, it says you're a farmer and a business owner. Tell us what kind of farming and what kind of business.
So cattle would definitely be the side of farming that I'm in love with. Baby calves going out with the grandkids, you just can't beat it. Getting in the side by side, driving along and seeing a new little calf laying in the grass is just something you can't experience, or you can't appreciate until you've experienced it. And taking each and every grandkid along at different times, having different experiences, watching their reaction. So I love the cattle side. Of course, with that comes bush hogging and all the things that maybe aren't so popular. But these are all things that need to be done. But these are things that I'm no stranger to. Hard work has never been something that we've ever shied from. So I see myself as having cattle forever. Row cropping and hay and all those other things come with it. But if you want to know what I love cattle and I love calving season.
But you also have, you said, a truck wash, and you and your dad have been building buildings all over the county and all over the state for a long time.
Yeah. So I'm in business on my own. Had that happen during the Joplin tornado. Joplin tornado hit several of my wife's cousins, and along with that, I had realized it was time. I had my own boys. My dad had a big crew, and so that's kind of when the split off happened, with my dad's blessings and everything that goes with that. And so I've been in business since Joplin tornado, which has been has that been
13 years?
13 years this year. So that's pretty new on the tongue. So I had my own boys, built my own crew, kind of did the same thing that I was raised with. Truck wash was more recent. I think we've had it since, I think we bought it in 2019.
So is this a pickup truck wash? Because I noticed there's a lot of dirty trucks around here. I don't know.
So this is Exit 33. Okay. That's the name we gave it. So I built the building for the original owner. It caught fire a couple years later. We purchased it, rebuilt it, and we are still the owners of it. My wife, Lynn, does the managing of that mostly. I go around there, try to fix things. I seem like I can't keep my hands out of things. So we go by. Sometimes you'll even see me washing a truck. It's fulfilling. It's fun to see, what can be done, work with the guys, keep their spirits up, and just see a dirty truck come in and see it clean. But these are semi trucks. We also do fire department trucks. We do police cars. We do UPS trucks. I mean, if they pull in there, somebody's going to give them a price, and we're going to get them washed before they leave. So,
I see a lot of consistencies between what you do on a day-to-day basis throughout your whole life and what you're doing for our area that you're representing in our state. And you said, I like to get in there and I like to get things done. I like to fix things. I like to help people. I like to make it in a good experience. All of those things, managing people, you bring that to the table for us. So I appreciate that you already have those skills and you're just exercising them in a new way. So that just wanted to highlight that. That's pretty cool.
We didn't highlight Mitch's family. 8 kids, 11 going on 13 grandkids. Did I get that right? Is that what that was?
Going on 12, yeah.
Going on 12.
Well, you were adding something in there. Twins.
He has information I don't have.
One of your kids just called and said number 13 is on the way.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the legislature, because you are our representative for District 157 here in the state of Missouri. What areas of expertise do you focus on? Because I know that legislators, they have areas that they're in committees, or, I mean, you all get to vote on the larger stuff, but you're on committees trying to put together bills and things like that. What's one area of expertise do you focus on?
So, yes, I've grown up with leadership, and so legislation is a lot different. So you think that you're going to be leadership in a certain area. You don't necessarily get to pick that. You can highlight what you're good at. And so my main focus has probably been, other than the bill that I passed 2 years ago, where you can visit your loved one in the hospital, but my day-to-day focus is probably on budget. Budget is a big piece of our life there. You could dedicate your entire time to the budget and not get it.
So do we, as a state, do a pretty good job of living within our budget?
Oh yeah, we do. There's been some inconsistencies over the last few years. So whenever I took office, it was in 2020, and we all know what was going on in 2020. Mm-hmm. There was people job hopping. There was people losing their job. There was jab, no jab, mask, no mask. And so it was a really divided time. One of my first things I voted on, not the very first, but one of the first things, was who was essential. As a preacher, as a pastor, I have the message that everyone's essential. So I had to carry that message and remind everyone that we're all essential. We can't pick and choose who's important and who is not.
Right.
What a critical time. So talk to us about how you see your service to the county as making a difference.
Well, I like things like this, just getting to meet people that I have never met before. So I've never known a stranger, but I'm still looking. And so I love that part of it. And what is strange about this job is you don't always do as much about the circumstances you want to do. You are many times connecting dots. So when somebody calls with an issue, you're getting them involved with that department. You're doing follow-up. You're making sure that what they said is getting done. And so even though we're not always doing what I want to do, like, I'm a hands-on person, I want to be the one that slides the paper across and says, here, this is. I don't always get to be in that piece of it, but you're always involved in it. And so it's a connecting. My office is a connecting source. It's where you call, where we do the work of getting you with who you need to talk to, because let's face it, some of the issues that come through my office are federal issues. I'm on state level, but I know who to call. Like, I'm going to call that federal person that needs to have your contact, get you connected with them to get it resolved as soon as possible, because sometimes it's dire situation for someone on their end, and so you're trying to make it happen as fast as you can.
Right.
And government does not happen fast, as
everybody listening already knows that.
Yes.
It's being reinforced here.
That's right. We're talking today with Representative Mitch Boggs. He's your state legislator right here in the state of Missouri. Mitch, I want to know, what's the biggest obstacle facing the state of Missouri right now?
Well, other than we have so many people running for statewide offices, that is definitely an obstacle, because until August has passed, we can't all get on the same team. We all have our teams that we're picking from. So that's an obstacle. Being in the supermajority that we are becomes an obstacle in itself, because whenever everybody's on the same team, you would think that they would work harder together, but it's actually, you work harder together when you have less team playing for you. So that has been a big obstacle that I was not totally prepared for. I'm used to whenever I've got a crew going onto a job site, everybody's on the same team trying to get the job done at the same speed. And so this is like having 163 people in a building with no boss.
Wow. Some very good perspective for us as we're listening and getting to know you better.
Hey, I gotta just ask, isn't there like a Speaker of the House? Isn't that the boss?
There is,
Do we have a Speaker of the House in Missouri?
We do, and he's doing a fine job, but he's trying to corral everybody around, and you'll hear him say sometimes it's like herding cats. So all 163 of us have a different bill that we want to file. We got a different, and so you gotta get 82 people that thinks your idea is the best idea.
So how can us...
Speaking of herding cats, we got some feral cats right here in Marionville. If any of you would like to herd them, take them out to a farm near you, we could let you have them.
We support that.
All right.
So there may be people hearing you talk for the first time on this podcast right here, getting to know you. How can our listeners support you as our legislator?
Well, there's several ways to support. I mean, we always need support, encouragement, whatnot. It's always encouraging whenever people come to the Capitol and they leave and they send you a handwritten note or some form of encouragement. Just know each time you vote on something, you're making about half the people happy and half the people not happy. And so that's a difficult part of this, because as a builder, whenever something gets completed, you want the customer to look at what you've done and go, hey, that looks good. That's what I wanted. I like that. So learning how to keep pushing forward through the negative, and I don't mean negative. Some people can tell you they don't like what you did in a not negative way, but to encourage and support. But stay in contact. I mean, it's my job and my duty to try to reach out to you as my constituents, or even abroad. Some of the people that I'm dealing with right now are from St. Louis area. They're people from Wildwood. They know me personally. They don't know their rep, so they reach out to me. I'm connecting them with their rep, but I'm getting to stay in focus, in part, in accomplishing some sort of good. And so even every time we send something out of my office, one of the things we focus on really hard, and that is this positive? Is what we're sending out, and it has, if we mention the governor's name, is it positive? If we mention the speaker's name as you spoke, is it positive? Trying not to shed light on the negative. There's plenty of negative going around, and we've worked extra hard. And you can look back through all my posts, all my Capitol reports, everything, and we do our best out of my office to address things from a positive nature.
Speaking of
well, I was going to say, shout out to your staff and your office, because that is how we got connected to you. You noticed our ribbon cutting for Central Place, and sent the article back to us laminated with your seal, and really did a positive job of just saying, hey, we noticed you and thank you for what you're doing. And then we were like, well, we would like to get to know you. Please come and tour our building. So this, it took some time, but we made it happen. And we're so grateful that you're here sharing with the Good Place Marionville podcast listeners.
Really quick, our legislative session. Tell us one really positive thing came out of our legislative session this year.
One real positive thing. It's
got to be really quick.
Yeah. So one of the positive things is we got the budget passed. We thought we was going to have a special session. With everything going on, like I said, with everybody running for office, it creates an atmosphere that you don't anticipate. And so we got a budget passed, a balanced budget passed.
There you go.
I guess I will add.
Yes.
Without a special session. And for us that are in legislation, that's a very positive thing.
That's huge. What's one last thing you'd love to say to all the listeners, your constituents right here in Marionville, Missouri?
I have a positive thing that I want to put out there. We have in the state of Missouri, my very first year, there was $6 million and some dollars in Lawrence County of unclaimed property. Through my office during off season, we worked extra hard and we got that cut pretty much in half. That was a goal I had, is to cut that in half. With your help, if you would go and look up your relatives, your grandpas, your LLCs, anyone like that, we still have over $3 million in the county of Lawrence County, which is huge. And so it's a positive thing for me to tell you, go on there, go to unclaimed property in Missouri, and it's through the treasurer's office, and look up your relatives, yourself, and see if there's any unclaimed property. If it's under $50, it'll say under. If it says over $50, it can be any amount. That's one of the things that I want you guys to know.
Unclaimed property, like gold bars that you found somewhere, some silver coins.
Yeah, or maybe somebody closed a bank account. Maybe there was an insurance check that you got half of at the beginning and you never got the other. I mean, there's so many things. Yeah, I never even knew this existed. So that's one thing. The other thing is come to the Capitol, look at my office, get with my office, and arrange. We will take you to the top. We will try to make the best experience we can. One of the things when I hired Uriah, which you spoke about him earlier, is I wanted someone that if even the other office, someone came in, they weren't able to get a regular tour, that we could get them up to the top, make the experience for them, something they'll never forget. The building's beautiful. It's great. And I invite you guys, any school group, anyone to come to my office. We will get you to the top. We will do our best to make sure that you experience what Jeff City has.
So generous. Thank you.
And a shout out to Uriah. He's very, very good. Thank you, Representative Mitch Boggs, for joining us today on the Good Place Marionville podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Now can he put his hat back on, Jim?
No, he can't. No, he can't. Now, before we finish up, just a few more good things to note.
I just have some random news, and one of those is the month's Curb Appeal Award for the month of June is actually sponsored anonymously in honor of our good friend Bruce Schatzer. Bruce's life ended way too short, and in everyone's opinion, I believe that is the case. We believe that, but his huge heart for Marionville and the needs of others can live on in each of us as we determine to give back to our town and those in need. So go to the Facebook page for Marionville Pride and vote for this month's Curb Appeal Award. And it's so great that somebody is honoring Bruce's life in that process. It really is exciting, as well as for all the work that's been put into our town, with everybody trying to make their town a little bit prettier. And also the break in the rain right now is wonderful. So remember to mow your yard.
Yeah, please don't make City Hall send you a note. Mow your yard. We have a great time.
Or mow your neighbor's yard.
Yes, is that okay? Is that legal to do? I don't know it's legal. Hey, don't forget June 29th, fireworks night. It's fantastic. There'll be food trucks, fireworks in the park. Food and music start at 6 o'clock. Fireworks will start at dark sometime after 9 o'clock. Bring chairs, blankets, bug spray, and make it a family night. And Clayton's fireworks, they never disappoint.
You know, speaking of Clayton, he also sponsors the fireworks for Marionville Applefest, which is September 20th and 21st this year. It's never too late to get involved with the ever popular Marionville Applefest. Feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the notes.
How about some nonprofit there highlight, Martha?
Well, you know, it is VBS season. So remember to check out your local churches to find out the details and get involved.
It's like free daycare, but they actually learn something too. Hey, this podcast is a great platform for you to highlight local business and show your support for the good happening right here in Marionville. Consider becoming a sponsor of this podcast by contacting it's easy for me to say. Contacting us at goodplacemarionville@hotmail.com, goodplacemarionville@hotmail.com. There are many different sponsorship levels for you to choose from.
And we do need your help. It will take a small army of reporters to keep up with the stories of the good that is happening in Marionville. But shout out to those who sent me stuff this week. I really appreciate it. And you can continue to do that and contribute reports by emailing goodplacemarionville@hotmail.com or call 417-677-8167. All that will be in the show notes, or you can DM me on Facebook.
Thanks for joining us on the Good Place Marionville podcast. Keep your eyes up for the good happening right here in our great city, and together we can celebrate Marionville.